From the inside out, the Sacred Heart devotion brings you to life. On the edge of my desk, or in a window nearby, my favorite picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus has followed me for almost 10 years. After 5 homes and 5 states, he's still with me. He's painted as a solid, broad man with large, outstretched hands. A hint of a smile teases the edge of his mouth, and the more I stare at his eyes, they seem kind and real and alive. But for a period in my life, I couldn't decide if heaven or hell was breaking loose in my family after we enthroned the Sacred Heart. Here's the story. A lot can be said about the Sacred Heart and the origins of its devotion with St. John the Apostle, St. Margaret Mary, and others. Some will share breathless and starry-eyed stories of how their lives calmed and changed after enthroning the Sacred Heart. I'm so glad for them. There are many, many wonderful stories of families flourishing when they accepted Christ into their home. But that wasn't my story. Here's a little of my own journey. You see, my parents and siblings discovered the 12 fantastical promises of the Sacred Heart about 10 years ago. We threw ourselves completely into living it out. Well, most of us did. Many of the kids in my family didn't really care, but we older ones practiced the first Fridays and Saturdays. We attended the sacraments almost daily, and even spent Thursday nights in candlelit vigils before our home shrine for the Sacred Heart. And then something happened, and it wasn't what we expected. We hoped that this devotion would bind us more closely together, dissolve the squabbles, and, in air quotes, secure our Catholic future. But you see, when you invite the God of faith, hope, and love into your family, be prepared for the journey that he takes you on. In our case, everything that we had told ourselves was normal was changed. Family dynamics suddenly reached breaking points, rebellion and challenges and separations, and we started asking the unaskable questions. We were convinced that it was the work of the evil one, trying hard to shatter us, shatter the family bonds, shatter the desire to be Catholic. Years later, I look back and realize that Christ was at work. It's true that he is the Prince of Peace, but it's his peace. And if he has to bring a sword to separate father from son, mother from daughter, he will. He loves us the way we are, yes. And yet he loves us too much to leave us the way we are. And in my family's case, we had just lit the fuse to a spiritual nuclear weapon. We began to realize that our nuclear family was a tinderbox, not just a treasure trove. And after months of agonizing effort to seek counseling, everything changed. My parents ended up annulled, and many of my brothers and sisters heading out to live lives on their own terms. I still shake when I think of the power of Christ and his love. Walking away from that old family dynamic showed me that we had bought into a whole host of horrible, no good, very bad ideas on how to be Catholic. We relished terrible conspiracy theories about the world and the church. We counted down the days until the apocalypse would scour the world of evil. We constantly judged the words of our holy fathers and church councils against our limited, biased understandings. And when I say we, I really do mean me. I tried so hard to be the front runner in this fringe reality. The Sacred Heart of Jesus will permit many things for love of us. He will allow people to insult him, ignore him, wound him, even kill him on the cross of Calvary. But if you're going to invite him in and ask him to really, truly, actively live in your family, he just might. Looking back now, I'm so grateful for what he did. The Sacred Heart devotion has saved me. It's brought me into willing communion with him and his church, and I could never, ever go back to any group that sets themselves up as an authority against his church. When I think of who I was setting myself up to be, I am mortified at the totally arrogant snothead I would have been. I'm still trying to get over myself, but I was extremely proud and judgmental, harsh, and I was convinced I was God's gift to humanity. I'm trying to be a lot humbler now. My wife certainly makes sure of that. God bless her every day forever. I have a renewed hope for life, a passion to build the kingdom here and now and not be counting down to it. I'm excited to raise my little family to be Catholic within this strange, new, modern context, not to live in fear and hate of the world, but to calmly live out the Beatitudes and the commandments and the sacraments. I want to dedicate my life to being a piece of His Sacred Heart in my world, always learning, always improving, always plumbing new depths of understanding and kindness to be more like Him. Truth be told, I shake a little every time we move to a new home and enthrone Him again. What new changes am I asking for? What I've learned in the last 10 years is that His sacraments are what He says they are. Outward signs of inward graces. Like the sacrament of marriage, it's an unflinching, constant, and love-bound challenge to holiness in every diaper, trash bag, and lawnmower. Staring into the eyes and open arms of the Sacred Heart every day reminds me that Christ respects my freedom. If I want to let go of His hands, He'll still hold them out to me. If I want to ignore the fact that I'm floundering and drowning, He'll still be there. And if I choose to grab Him and hold on, then He will pull hard and we will walk on water. I kid you not. The last 10 years of my life have been lived completely in His hands, and it's a terrifying thing. And it's the most wonderful, comforting thing. They say be careful what you wish for, because you could get it. In my case, I really, truly wanted the Sacred Heart, and He came. My family will never be the same after that time. In some ways, we're now free from those past conditions to be ourselves and discover our own journeys in the faith. Love is not blind. Divine love sees with perfect 20/20 vision. So here are the 12 promises that He made to St. Margaret Mary Alacoque. 1. I will give them all the graces necessary in their state of life. 2. I will establish peace in their homes. 3. I will comfort them in all their afflictions. 4. I will be their secure refuge during life and above all in death. 5. I will bestow abundant blessings upon all their undertakings. 6. Sinners will find in my heart the source and infinite ocean of mercy. 7. Lukewarm souls shall become fervent. 8. Fervent souls shall quickly mount to high perfection. 9. I will bless every place in which an image of my heart is exposed and honored. 10. I will give to priests the gift of touching the most hardened hearts. 11. Those who shall promote this devotion shall have their names written in my heart. 12. I promise you, in the excessive mercy of my heart, that my all-powerful love will grant to all those who receive Holy Communion on the first Fridays in 9 consecutive months the grace of final perseverance. They shall not die in my disgrace, nor without receiving their sacraments. My divine heart shall be their safe refuge in this last moment. So, if you've been on the fence, I'd encourage you to jump in. It's like anything for Catholics who truly commit to Christ and His Church. We don't choose to be Catholic because it's comfortable. We choose to be Catholic because we know and understand that nothing else comes close to being as important. And we're prepared to allow Christ to undertake the hardest work in the world. And that's to change us from the inside out, so that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit can tabernacle in us. Heaven comes to life within the hearts of those who love Him. For some people, the journey is gentle and easy, perhaps because Christ knows that's exactly what we need. Some of us have hardened wills and darkened eyes. He may lavish time and graces. Perhaps for those who have the strength, he funnels into them the power of his life-changing love. I see this as the message of the Sacred Heart. We cannot live from fear of God. We must learn to live for love of him. And if you ask him, really, really ask him, he will come. He will show up and give you all the grace and grit you need to come alive.